Suddenly, a roar cuts through the cave. The Sarn troops have arrived. They are not ordinary soldiers. They are the Voids, pure genetic links, created solely to hunt and extract rare lineages. They have no face, only symbiotic masks that feed on their prey's identity. They don't speak. They only extract. Vale pulls Ethan. The escape continues, through even deeper tunnels. But now the Malocs accompany them, not as enemies, but as protectors. Small symbiotic fragments connect to Ethan's body, activating parts of the dormant DNA. He doesn't become stronger. He becomes aware of what he is, aware of what he carries, aware that perhaps Eden was never a place, but a bearer, but not the silence of peace, rather the one that precedes something terrible. The escape leads them to the depths of an ancient human scientific facility, abandoned since the early years of the genetic war. The place is a tomb of memories, walls covered with alien moss and fossilized technology. Flickering holograms activate as Ethan passes by. He sees young versions of scientists he has never met, but recognizes. Genetic fragments echoing through time, and in the center of the main room lies what remains of Project Eden, a capsule. Empty Vial approaches and touches the cracked panel. This is where it all began. Where you created the code, and where you decided it was too dangerous to exist. The Malocs hover silently, their bodies trembling like living mist. They reveal more, not with words, but with sensations. Project Eden was sabotaged by humans themselves, fearing the power of what they had discovered. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a key, a genetic structure capable of redefining the biology of all known species. To unite or destroy, Ethan feels the capsule react to his presence. Sensors light up red. The capsule recognizes him, the last oracle of Earth. Not a messenger, but a living memory, carrying the complete genome of the human species before the war manipulations. He is not just proof that humanity existed. He is what humanity should have been. Suddenly, the facility shakes. The Voids have arrived. But they are not alone. The Sarn brought with them a catalyst, a fragment stolen from Ethan's own DNA, used to create a clone, a corrupted reflection, the image of what he would have been if born inside the Empire. The encounter between the two is silent. They face each other, and for a moment, they recognize one another. The capsule blinks one last time before collapsing. The message is clear. Only one can carry Eden, and now, Ethan must choose to fight for his identity or sacrifice himself to prevent the truth from falling into the wrong hands. The facility trembles as if it were alive. The confrontation between Ethan and his Sarn reflection isn't immediate. It's tense, deliberate, as if time itself hesitates to move forward. The clone, adorned with symbiotic armor and soulless eyes, is called Kyle, created to obey, trained to destroy. But inside him, there is a strange echo, confusion. "You feel it, don't you?" Ethan says, his voice firmer than he feels inside. "This isn't just code, it's memory." Kyle hesitates. For a second only. Enough. Vial fires. A wave of bioenergy hits the Sarn soldiers entering through the main entrance. The Tanari roars like an ancient beast. She doesn't just want to survive. She wants the truth to live. The Malocs expand like liquid shadow, weaving through corridors and forgotten machines, protecting Ethan and consuming their enemies in silence. Ethan runs to the core of the facility, where an ancient genetic interface still pulses. He connects with it, not with wires or commands, but with what he carries in his blood. The pain is immediate. Hallucinations flood his mind. Earth ablaze, the first activation of Project Eden, human voices begging forgiveness as they lock the original DNA away forever. The facility begins to implode. Kyle appears, wounded but advancing. He doesn't fight for himself. He fights for an empire that shaped him. And still, his strikes carry doubt. The clash between the two is brutal. Two nearly identical bodies moving like dissonant reflections. Ethan is untrained. Kyle is trained. But Ethan carries something the other doesn't: memory, pain, desire for truth. In the final moment, Ethan holds Kyle's symbiotic blade to his own neck. If you're me, then you know we can't let Eden be used. Kyle trembles. The blade falls. And then, the ground disappears. The facility collapses. Silence. Dust. Vile drags Ethan out of the rubble. He lives. But Kyle doesn't. Or maybe he does. A capsule is open. And empty. The sky of Lixora, the hybrid planet, begins to change. The explosions have ceased. Dust, like a veil suspended in time, settles over the ruins of Project Eden's last stronghold. Ethan watches the ashes float around him, but it is Vile who breaks the silence. The war has changed. Now, everyone will hunt you. Ethan does not respond. His eyes are fixed on the empty capsule where Kyle disappeared. He feels it. The clone still lives, and carries something even more dangerous: free will. With the destruction of the facility, the original DNA dormant within Ethan begins to fully manifest. Not just memory, but instructions, ancestral codes of the most advanced human engineering ever conceived. He now has the ability to reactivate or rewrite humanity's lineage. It is a gift, or a curse. Vile watches Ethan with a mixture of reverence and fear. You're not just the last, you're the first. Together, they flee to the storm. Belts, regions where the Malochs freely expand in symbiotic colonies, beings the San avoid at all costs. It is there that Ethan begins to understand. The Malochs are not just parasites. They are liquid memory. They store the collective unconscious of species they have touched, learning, adapting, remembering. By entering symbiosis with him, Ethan sees fragments of what the San tried to erase: the Tanari rebellion, the betrayal by humans themselves, and the exact moment the original DNA was sealed. Inside a single embryo. Him. His dreams were not dreams. They were transmissions, encrypted memories the Malochs kept alive through generations. Now, he understands his purpose. It is not to defeat the Sarn in direct combat. It is to awaken those who can still remember. And so he begins to broadcast. An ancient call encoded in biofrequency echoes through forgotten systems. Humanity did not die. It merely slept. On the other side of the galaxy, something responds. A silent glow in the dark, a rebel cell, a forgotten colony. The original DNA has awakened echoes, and Eden is no longer lost. The signal sent by Ethan crosses the veils of cosmic silence like a scream trapped for millennia. In the depths of forgotten nebulae, ancient human stations, long considered dead, blink like beacons lit after the storm. But the echo of the call awakens not only allies. The Sarn detect the genetic pattern embedded in the transmission. To them, it is not just a code. It is an extinction warning, living proof that what they buried still breathes. The Supreme Council of Valzareth, the heart of the Imperial Dominion, issues the Black Heart Protocol. Locate and eliminate the saga, last oracle before the code spreads. Ethan is now the universal target, and not just him. Vile, connected to the message as a hybrid channel, begins to deteriorate. The pure DNA is like an overload to her modified system. She feels internal failures but says nothing. She stays silently by his side, guiding him to where the call had the strongest response: the Taylor Prime system. Upon arrival, what they find is not an army. It is something more powerful. A child, human, perfectly healthy, with eyes shining with the same light Ethan saw in his own dreams. She does not speak, but when she touches his hand, the truth explodes in his mind. She was born from the echo. Project Eden was not a weapon, it was a seed, and now it is sprouting across many worlds. But they have no time to celebrate. A fleet approaches. Sarn ships black as the void, tearing space with their gravitational thrusters. They do not come to negotiate. They come to erase the past once again. Ethan looks at the child. She smiles. They don't understand. You are no longer alone, Vile says, before coughing blood. Time is up. They must flee. But the girl points to the sky, and then something unexpected appears on the horizon. Ships, human, of a forgotten design, bearing symbols of old Earth, but updated. Alive. Eden has answered. The sky of Taylor Prime tears silently, as if the very fabric of space yields to the weight of the inevitable. On one side, the Sarn fleet, flawless, symmetrical, monumental. Black ships with purple energy trails, carrying the lords of extinction, the genetic elite of the dominators, cold, precise, unstoppable. On the other, something more disorganized, but alive. Ship after ship, with archaic designs reborn from humanity's forgotten fragments. Fleets gathered by Ethan's signal, hidden colonies, lost stations, silent descendants of the original DNA. They answered the call. Ethan, now holding Vael in his arms, watches everything from the surface. She is dying. The fusion of her hybrid nature with the pure genetic pulse is slowly undoing her body. You need to go. The seed must bloom. She whispers, eyes moist but determined. He holds her, refusing to let go. But the girl, Eden's first birth, touches his forehead. An image explodes in his mind, a hidden place deep within Taylor Prime's core, a complete genetic archive, recorded in a living structure, the essence of human DNA, the true Project Eden. The war begins above them. Lights cut through the skies. Frigates explode silently, like mournful fireworks. The human forces, though motivated, are no match for brute power. But something unexpected happens. Hybrids start betraying the Sarn. Tanari hordes, touched by the genetic wave of the signal, desert en masse. Symbiotic Malocs detach from their Sarn masters and migrate to new hosts, humans. The balance begins to shift. Ethan and the child run to the core. A chamber opens before them, alive, pulsating, containing the genetic code in its purest form. Not just a database, but a generator. DNA can be replicated, expanded, spread. The girl places her hand on the core, and everything changes. A bluish wave sweeps the planet. It does not destroy, it awakens. Within seconds, hybrids collapse, then rise. Renewed. Forgotten humans feel memories they never lived. Malocs bond with new hosts, now by mutual will, not by compulsion. The galaxy begins to change at that moment. Ethan cries. Vile, even on the brink of death, smiles. She feels peace. Now. We are one, she whispers. And she's gone. The Sarn fleet, destabilized, retreats. The lords of the Empire watch. Their era crumble. The pure DNA was not a weapon of destruction. It was a new beginning. Project Eden was activated. Ethan carries the child in his arms, crossing the new landscape. Hybrids and humans embrace. Malocs and Tanari sing a new melody of unity. Humanity, once extinct, was not restored. It evolved. And on that day, the entire universe heard the voice of a people who refused to disappear. The last oracle was not just a man. He was the bridge between what we were and what we can be.